$852.7 billion. That's how much the government will be spending for the 2020-2021 financial year. Ministry of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clark, says the budget is almost $6.5 billion less than what was tabled for the current financial year, which ends on March 31. But the opposition People's National Party is already describing it as an election budget, filled with goodies to entice the public to vote for the Jamaica Labour Party. However, the finance minister says the budget is in keeping with the fiscal discipline of the government, which will see the country's debt to GDP ratio at 87% by the end of the 2020-2021 fiscal year. Meanwhile, it was the usual pomp and circumstance for the opening of Parliament for the new legislative year. But then it was down to business. The much-anticipated throne speech delivered by the Governor-General featured the accomplishments of the government and the policies to be implemented this year. But the opposition's People's National Party is describing the budget as old and washed up. Jamaica Maitland reports.
Aside from the progress in the economy, aided by the International Monetary Fund, the People's National Party says the government's accomplishments are a result of policy continuity, one which started because of the work done when they were in government. High on the agenda for the government is the tabling of the National Identification System, NIDS Bill, the amendments to the Registration of Birth and Deaths Act, and the revision of the National Housing Trust Act.
Under the National Identification System, NIDS project, the non-NIDS activities have commenced. For example, infrastructure upgrades that are necessary to strengthen Jamaica's cybersecurity profile.
The opposition spokesman on national security, Fitz Jackson, argued that the absence of legislation to address crime is significant of the failure of the government. Last year's speech included the tabling of several legislation: the Police Act, the Enhanced Security Measures Act, the National Security Council Act, regulations for the merger of the Police Commission with the Police Civilian Oversight Authority, and the regulations for the MOCA Bill. Only the amendment to the POCA Bill was implemented.
During the 2019-2020 legislative year, the government made considerable strides in advancing its policy agenda to support national crime-fighting strategies. This included the passage of the Proceeds of Crime Amendment Act 2019 and attendant regulations to strengthen local anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing efforts.
And the opposition spokesman on health, Dr. Maurice Guy, also criticized the government for the handling of the country's health issues. The minister reported that one patient has been isolated after they reportedly showed signs and symptoms of the coronavirus. The government says this year they will be equipping medical staff to deal with any global health emergency.
Jamaica continues to prepare by training staff, equipping facilities, securing the necessary medical supplies, and also making provision for quarantine and isolation facilities as is necessary.
Jamila Maitland for CVM Live.
The wheel of uncertainty is spinning for the People's National Party as another member has crossed the floor. Councillor for the Trafalgar Division and daughter of the late and former PNP MP and Minister Easton Douglas this morning joined the Jamaica Labour Party. This gives the JLP an additional seat in the KSAMC, making it 22-18. Robian Williams provides the details in this report.
Don't tarry, vote Kari was a tagline used in the then PNP councillor's election campaign back in 2016. Now, she has decided to breathe with the Prosperity Bunch.
I advise of my intention to cross the political aisle this morning, Your Worship. I have 2 letters to inform both yourself and the CEO of the council of this intention.
Douglas was embraced by JLP councillors at a KSAMC meeting. Her switching of allegiance gives the JLP an additional seat in the council, making it 22-18.
Even though it is a surprise, I just want to say welcome.
Kari Douglas, welcome to the family.
Her colleagues were not surprised and remain confident.
It came to us as no surprise. we want to wish her all the best. We have identified a PNP candidate from last year because she has not applied to run back for the PNP.
It took quite a long time, honestly. I expected it in 2016, and when it never happened, I thought there might have been a change of heart because there were things being said and done and suggested.
While in her constituency,
she can't win no election. And we have to go down on the ground to make she win. And we have to go on the ground to make she win. She don't have no great with Julian.
This is Carrie. I love Carrie to the earth. But I right off Carrie like old Chuck. This is down river, I right her up. Now talk to me, I love you. Now deal with me, I love you.
Douglas was a leading supporter of Peter Bunting's Central Manchester MP, who challenged Dr. Peter Phillips for the leadership of the PNP last year. Last year, October, she resigned as minority ranking member of the Building and Town Planning Committee of the KSAMC. But was that an early indication of her plan to cross the floor? Robianne Williams for CVM Live.
The Electoral Office of Jamaica has indicated that it is fully prepared to receive nominations of candidates for the by-election in the constituency of Clarendon South Eastern. Nominations will take place on Wednesday, February 12, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Veer Technical High School. Here once again is Robianne Williams.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness declared a by-election on March 2 for the seat, which became vacant after the resignation of long-time Member of Parliament Rudyard Spencer. The JLP has had a strong hold on that seat for decades. However, the opposition has decided not to contest any seat leading up to the general election. Director of Elections Glasspool Brown gave CVM Live a rundown of the nomination process.
What will happen that any person who wishes to be nominated to contest the election, the by-election, they will be required to fill out a nomination form. That form has to be signed by any 10 or more electors registered to vote in the constituency. And they return the form to the returning officer between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. And they are required to pay a nomination fee of $15,000.
With only one confirmed nominee, Glasspool says the EOJ is prepared for any eventualities.
There are only 3 registered political parties. And therefore, if a person wants to run under the banner of a political party, they have to be part of the registered party, which is the People's National Party, Jamaica Labour Party, and the United Independent Congress. Outside of that, any other person would have to run as an independent candidate.
PNP candidate Patricia Duncan Sutherland has been commenting on social media. She tweets, "It is clear that Southeast Clarendon is being used to settle an internal dispute, not to serve the people, but to pursue personal agendas. It is time for a different kind of politics." The man selected as Spencer's successor, Pernell Charles Jr., is confident of a victory. He says the constituency will have a new voice and a new vision. Robianne Williams for CVM Live.
The UK government has deported approximately 17 Jamaicans, despite Monday's court ruling to stop the scheduled flight. The result of this development has raised concerns about foreign policy and the possible link to the Windward scandal report, which is yet to be published. Khadija Thomas now reports.
This is not the way they imagined their return to Jamaica. Held in detention centers, then flown home by charter flight to a processing facility, and then captured on video with faces covered and their belongings in hand, they envisioned a different welcome to their homeland. One family member shared with CVM Live that his relative was held at the UK Home Office.
He make up his mind, So if they plan not to give it to him, then he better just pack up his things and go home. Because he don't want to get a call say his mother passed away. That 90 years, a lot of years from your country. His son, his 2 sons, the 2 biggest ones, they're at school and they can't stay at school. They have to send them home. They might cry. They want them father. How would they deal with that situation? They're not adults, they're not teenagers, they're youngsters.
The move by the UK government to continue with this charter flight has been heavily criticized.
Up to this point, there had been calls for the UK government to suspend the flights until the report on the Windrush scandal was published. But recently, a leaked draft of that report was made public, which said that the government should consider ending the deportation of foreign-born offenders.
But what we had seen unfolding on Tuesday appears to be the complete opposite. Many are wondering why the Jamaican government continues to accept flights with so-called dangerous criminals in a country that is already struggling to control crime. Overseas, even British politicians are shocked that the government went ahead with the flight despite a court ruling to postpone it.
Our colleagues in the United Kingdom that we work with, because we work with a coalition of colleagues, yesterday they were trying to stop the flight. Some actually got quite a few people off the flight.
The chairman of the Windrush movement in the UK says many persons were not allowed sufficient time to get legal advice.
Because they've gone ahead with this flight instead of doing the right thing, which would have been to publish the report, let's scrutinize it, let's develop a strategy in dealing with the failings of the Home Office, and let's be clear, there are failings. They have been found to be wanting, and they've ploughed ahead with this flight with sheer arrogance.
Khadija Thomas, CVM Live.
We'll have more on the deportees during our panel discussion. Residents of Jacksontown in Trelawney blocked the roads in the community earlier today as they called for their water woes to come to an end. They say they've been highly inconvenienced and have not yet received any update as to when they will be getting water. Christine Forbes reports.
Over 1 month, no water, no water. This is not good at all.
The residents say they have been without water for the past 5 weeks, and the lack of water is causing immense burden as they struggle to carry out domestic duties. The road blockage has left some residents stranded. One resident says she has made several calls to the National Water Commission.
When I call NWC, no answer. Call Falmouth, no answer. Call Montego Bay, no answer.
Send truck with water so that we can even get water to even flush toilet and all those things. It can't work.
Another man believes the demonstration is a desperate call for the authorities to meet with residents and address the water issue.
We need somebody to come and represent, even Water Commission. Yes, we need somebody to come in and talk with us. Yes, and tell us when we're going to get water, because we heard people said that we're not going to get water for 3 months, and we can't live with that.
According to a teacher from Westwood High School, teachers left the school compound last week as there was no water. She says the unavailability of water has affected the operations of the school. She believes, however, that blocking the road will not help, as many others were unable to get to school and work this morning.
Yesterday, we bought 2 loads. Today, I think the assistant will be there trying to get water to the school. Now, when you block the road like this, how can we get water to the school? You get what I'm saying? And it's a girls' school.
Christine